Hello, and welcome to this session on Keep Growing. So let's take a moment to settle in and find a comfortable seat. And please make sure that you have a notebook and pen readily available, or some pieces of paper or whatever you have to start some journaling. And as you settle in, I want to share a simple image with you. So I have two plants here, two plants from my house, two peace lilies. One here is absolutely flourishing. It's got 1, 2, 3 flowers, some darker, really glossy leaves, and it's really reaching for the light. Yet, despite receiving the same attention, this one over here is struggling. It's a little droopy, it's less vibrant, and it's showing some yellow leaves. And this is a perfect example and a visual for personal growth. Growth isn't always linear, and sometimes two things that look like they need fundamentally the same thing to survive, they actually need different things in order to thrive. And what works for one person or during one phase of life might not work for another. So today in this journaling session, we're going to pause and look at what you need right now to keep growing, and to keep growing into your most vibrant self. So let's start with our first question. So I've got my journal with me as well here, and I've also got a timer. And the way I suggest you run this video is to listen to the question, write it down, and then I will give you some time to make some notes. So be disciplined and listen to the video all the way through to do your journaling. You can always come back to your journaling questions, but this at least will get you on your way. So allow the time and spend the time in this important journaling session to allow you to keep growing. So coming on to question 1. And this is going to be reflecting on your roots. And it asks us to look back and honour the strengths that we've already cultivated. And growth always starts from a foundation. So here's the question coming up on the screen now as well. What is a challenge or setback from the last few months that in hindsight taught you something valuable about your own strengths? So once again, what is a challenge or setback from the last few months that in hindsight taught you something valuable about your strength? And as you think about this question, just let your pen move. Write about the lesson, the shift in your thinking, or the new ability you developed because of it. What did you learn to let go of to make room for this new growth? Give you a few minutes here. Okay, so just bringing whatever you've written there to a close, just jotting down any last little notes you might need. You can always come back to this. So let's move on to our second question. So this is around the accessible lesson and just acknowledging. So let's release that first question that we had and let's make growth more tangible by looking at the world around us. So think about an article, book, or a show that caught your attention recently. Here's the next question, coming up on the screen now. What idea, quote, or concept from a book, article, documentary, or television show did you recently find interesting? And how might you apply that tiny piece of wisdom to your life this week? So once again, what idea, quote, or concept from a book, article, documentary, or television show did you recently find interesting? And how might you apply that tiny bit of wisdom to your life this week? So look for the smallest, most accessible action that you can take to bring that idea into your present reality. And write that down. I'll give you a few minutes. Okay, so just bringing that question to a close, jotting down any last bullet point notes that you might need. And again, just to remind you, you can come back to this anytime. Moving on to our next question. So this one's about nurturing the present. So before we do that, let's take a nice gentle breath in. Open your mouth and sigh it out. Nice. So growth also requires consistent effort and care right now in the present time. So this question is designed to connect your current actions to your personal development, to your growth. So here's a question coming up on the screen now. What is one small conscious change or routine you have implemented this week that directly supports your current well-being or personal goals? So once again, what is one small conscious change or routine that you have implemented this week that directly supports your current well-being or personal goals? And for this question, describe the action and that feeling that it gives you. And how does this simple act of showing up for yourself fill your cup? Okay, so just finishing off with that question, write in any last notes. And we've got 2 more questions left, so stick with it. You're doing well with the journaling. Moving on to our 4th question. This one's looking at the bigger picture. And let's step back and acknowledge your personal evolution. Here's the question coming up on the screen now. What is one significant piece of wisdom, skill, or understanding that you know now, either about yourself, the world, or others, that you definitely did not know last year? So once again, what is one significant piece of wisdom, a skill, or understanding that you know now about yourself, the world, or others that you definitely did not know last year? So in answering this question, acknowledge the growth, and how has this new knowledge changed your decisions, your direction, or lowered your stress in any way? So consider all that as you answer this question. I'll give you a bit of time. Okay, so just finishing off any last points that you have under that question, and we'll move on to our final question. So this question is looking to the light. So think back to these lovely white flowers. They're searching and looking for the light. And growth is always directed towards the future. So let's focus on the forward momentum. Here's the question coming up on the screen now. What is the smallest possible next step you can take this week in relation to growth in an area of your life you currently feel stuck or stagnant? So once again, what is the smallest possible next step you can take this week to initiate growth in an area of your life you currently feel stuck or stagnant? Just have a couple of minutes on this one. Okay, so finishing off your notes there, I've sealed up my journal now for this session. Popping the lid back onto my pen. So I suggest you do the same. And if you've got some unfinished business with this journaling, then revisit it. You could replay the whole video again, or just pick up a couple of the questions that resonated with you. And this is an exercise you can continue to return to at any stage. So let's just do a little bit of a clearing breath to finish off this session. You can close down your eyes if you wish for this part. We'll do 2 breaths. Take a nice deep inhale through your nose. And then a really nice exhale. Inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh it out. And then simply rest and absorb all that you have reflected on. And thank you for showing up for yourself today. And this concludes the end of my offerings for Mental Health Awareness Week, Top Up Together. I hope you've enjoyed what I've offered you this week. Please stay aligned with what you've discovered this week. Keep revisiting the 5 ways to well-being and really live your most vibrant life. If you want more in terms of my offerings, then please stay tuned. Visit the website www.wavewellness.co.nz. I'll be launching fully in early 2026, so stay tuned and you can subscribe there to receive updates. Also follow along on my social media links. They're all in the links to this recording. So stay tuned. I thank you very much for your support this week. I hope you've enjoyed the offerings. I've certainly enjoyed giving to my community, to you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.